My friends, Ontario is now in election season. It is official. The writs have been dropped. The lieutenant governor has dissolved the legislature, and the election season has begun. And in not too many days from now, Ontarians will go to the polls and decide whether or not Ontario is a province of patriots or a province of chumps. And it's very, very likely that Ontarians might choose to say to the whole world that we are a province of chumps, even though the polls seem likely that Ontarians are ready to be patriots, which is a good sign. But you never know with Ontario. They've elected this Liberal government 4 times, and you can't really blame the people of Ontario because the PCs could have won each and every one of those elections, and due to their stupidity, they lost them. So now we have a very good leader, Doug Ford, who the Arana Nation has endorsed, and we will see what happens. I am an independent, populist conservative, and I vote for, I don't support any party. I support the party that is mostly aligned with my independent, populist, conservative beliefs. I immediately endorsed Doug Ford when he became leader of the party, but I was all too prepared to stay at home or cast a blank ballot or support a different party when Patrick Brown, I call Patrick Lamalincha Brown, was leader of that party because he was the biggest traitor that politics has ever seen. And we don't have to get into that. He's old news now. But I want to talk to the people who are tempted to support the liberal puppets, also known as the NDP. The NDP under Andrea Horwath has been nothing but a puppet party of the Liberals. Andrea Horwath worships Kathleen Wynne. She kisses her foot. She kisses her backside. Andrea Horwath is Kathleen Wynne's slave. If it wasn't for the NDP, the Liberal minority government back in 2011 to 2014 would have fallen a long, long time ago. It was only at the very last second that Andrea Horwath grew a spine and said she wasn't going to support the budget back in 2014 and an early election was called. But Andrea Horwath supported most of the Liberals' budgets. She supported the Green Energy Act that was created by the Liberals, which is responsible for, among other things, but mostly responsible for the high cost of heating your home. The hydro bills are the most expensive in North America, and that's mostly because of the Green Energy Act, which the NDP supported. The NDP supported most of the Liberals' legislation. The NDP, and I can guarantee you this, if there was a minority government, Andrea Horwath would, in 2 seconds, join up with Jezebel, also known as Kathleen Wynne, and form a coalition government to try and stop Doug Ford and the PCs. Mark my words. The only time you ever see the NDP cuss out the Liberals is at election time, or if the Liberals are trying to privatize something, or if the Liberals make steep cuts to essential services. Those are the 3 times you'll ever hear the NDP go against the Liberals. Other than that, the NDP would never dare go against the Liberals because the NDP party, which used to be the party of the people, is now the party filled with nothing but slaves and sycophants for the Liberals, even though they'll never admit it. So you're a chump if you're voting for the NDP. But you're also a chump if you decide that this phrase that Kathleen Wynne continues to use, care not cuts. If you fall for that foolishness, you are the biggest chump alive and you can jump in the nearest hell for all I'm concerned. Because Kathleen Wynne, under her government, she has made extreme cuts in essential services, making Mike Harris look, frankly, like Mother Teresa. She cut essentials, not only cut, but eliminated essential services and care for autistic people over the age of 5. Y'all don't remember that, do you? It wasn't that long ago when thousands of people were on the steps of Queen's Park chanting, "Autism doesn't end at 5." It wasn't long ago when you saw yard signs saying autism doesn't end at 5. Stop cutting, stop taking away the services for autistic people over the age of 5, which Kathleen Wynne did. Kathleen Wynne also cut music services and other general arts services and programs in secondary schools and in elementary schools, but she was all too ready to bring in a radical sex education, teaching our children that there are more than 2 genders, which the NDP also supported, making them even bigger slaves and sycophants to the liberals. And that's another reason why they are. So when you talk about care, not cuts, I agree with that. The cutters are the liberals who cut services for autistic people over the age of 5. How much more disgraceful can you be? The cutters are the liberals who have made steep cuts to healthcare, forcing hospitals to throw patients in the hallway and in some cases in the bathroom so that so they can wait to get treated, thanks to cuts in healthcare because of the liberals. It's the liberals, the cutters, who have made cuts in education. We have many schools in Ontario right now that don't even have bloody cafeterias. How much more cutting can you get? So yes, she's the cutter, and the caring one is Doug Ford, and that's the one who the Arana Nation has supported, the populist. And I'm an independent populist conservative. There have been times when I've disagreed with the conservatives when they've become, when the conservatives act like establishment, Bay Street, globalist type of people. You'll see me attack them. But when you see a conservative leader who is for the people, who gives out his phone number, who believes in caring for people and helping people while at the same time being fiscally responsible, you're going to get my vote. And Doug Ford gets my vote, or his party gets the Arana Nation's vote. And I urge all of my viewers and subscribers in Ontario to support Doug Ford. So if you're a patriot, only a patriot would want a populist for the people, giving out his personal phone number, politician like Doug Ford, lower taxes, but at the same time, not just lower taxes, but care for the people who need it the most, and using our tax dollars wisely instead of just over the top raising taxes of everything. Use the services and the essential goods that you already have to care for your province, and going line by line in the government and cutting out the waste, fraud, and abuse, which is what should have been done a long time ago. There is no reason why the CEO of Hydro One should be making millions of dollars off our taxpayer money when we have hallway healthcare, schools that don't even have cafeterias, and autistic people who have had their services taken away if they're over 5. I think that the $1 million paycheck should have been taken away from that CEO instead of taking away services for people who are most in need. Only a fool would do something like that. And that's why I say only a fool and a chump would vote for the Liberals or the NDP. So you can stay there and listen to Kathleen Wynne talking about care, not cuts. You can stay there and listen to that all you want. But I'm just going to tell you right now, she does this every election. She'll come out in the election and promise you the stars, the sun, and the moon. And then when she's premier, she will cut essential services that people need the most, while at the same time racking up our debt and raising our taxes. That's Jezebel's record. That is the record that she will have to defend in this election. And that's the record the people of Ontario will have to choose either to reject or to support. So that's why it's very simple. She did it in 2014 as well. She did it in 2014. She promised the sun, stars, and moon in a budget, and that was the rare time when Andrea Horwath actually had a backbone and said, no, we ain't falling for this con anymore, and as a result, we had an early election. But she promised the sun, the stars, and the moon, and people voted for her like the chumps they were, and look what she's done now. So it's the same thing. History's repeating itself. So on June the 7th, Ontario will decide whether it is a province of patriots who care and love their province or a province of chumps. This is the Arana Nation.